Namaskar. Today is the 6th of May 2021. Welcome to EP 157 of Daily Global Insights with Sri and Sri. Trump launches a new communication platform after Twitter, Facebook bans. What a sense of timing, sir. He has really, waited till the day that the oversight committee of Facebook, which appears to be at this point, according to me, a rubber stamp. What's your thought, sir?
My thoughts are that, in fact, all the left wing loonies, I call them, or the pseudo intellectual liberals, they have this wonderfully aligned thought process backed by actions which follow a predictable pattern. So the date was set around this Wednesday that it would be done. And in the meanwhile, President Trump was preparing in the background from the desk of Donald J. Trump. If you all remember that there was an ad which said, from Donald J. Trump in the campaign. So he seems to have, picked up the what you call as the adage as a marketing tagline, and I think it's a wonderful site that he has launched. His timing is, as is always, is spot on.
Now, Facebook has decided that it will hold the Trump ban, but will reassess the decision over the coming months. This was by the oversight committee, which said that we will continue what has been decided by Facebook. So this, I have critically commented about this oversight committee several months ago when they formed it. It's full of left-leaning people. I didn't even see a token right-wing person, so I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that roster, sir.
No, I think it's better to stay away from the roster, but look at the overarching agenda of Facebook, Twitter, and of late, Google has, what I call as very emphatically joined the platform. How do you kind of infer? All you need to do in United States, I can't comment on rest of the world. From United States, all the IPs deliver a curated content, which is whenever you do a search, you have six common, what I call compatriots from the left wing propping up: BBC, NPR, New York Times. You don't see Washington Times or Fox News. You may even see CNBC and NBC, but all the content that is projected comes from these websites. There are ways by which you can maneuver. So the oversight board of the Facebook is no exception to this rule. It is littered with people who firmly believe that their agenda is the agenda, because if righteousness is their goal, all the stuff that is going on in United States very cleverly and very smartly is masked, but only what they believe to be righteous is projected. So therefore, I don't want to nitpick the names on the board, but the overarching message is very clear. They are part of the same breed, so you cannot get anything differentiated. I think Yahoo Finance, it was, who most appropriately said they have ducked the question and kicked the can down the road, which effectively means that, hey, we'll reassess. What are you going to reassess? Right? They haven't answered. What is it that you're going to reassess? And who, in your belief, or this what you call fact-finding committee, which makes these decisions that a person has violated the rules or not violated the rules? So the whole thing is, to me, a bogus.
The Chinese Communist Party linked firms may have received more than 400 million COVID-linked PPP linked funds last year. Sir, I have something to add. First, I would solicit your thoughts, sir.
But 125 firms have been investigated. They found many of these firms who have received this aid seem to be linked in some way or the other to CCP. I have mentioned this time and time again in this program, this going back to the Jobs Act of Obama, which turned out to be a disaster. Whenever the government or the big government is involved in making these decisions and dispersing the money, all you can expect is a very suboptimal outcome. So this is no exception to the rule.
And Biden America family would cost $2.5 trillion, at least $700 billion more than originally planned, sir.
Sir, you have to make a comment on the previous point. You said you would make a comment, but you wanted me to make the comment first.
Yes, on that, I was trying to apply for it for my wife's business because we still can't hold our classes. She runs a classical Indian dance studio. We are renting the studio in the hope that normalcy will resume. It's now 18, 19, 20 months into this COVID crisis. We still have not heard anything about when we can start admitting children. And when we tried to apply for this, there was the window was very short, and there were a lot of back and forth between the advisor and I. And I managed to finally did everything like, dot the I's and cross the T's and give the form. And then lo and behold, half an hour later, I come to know that the SBO window funding just closed and I could not make it. So I feel like, there are people who are, the right eligible candidates, but one way or the other, these things slip through the crack. I felt a little sad. I just felt that, a lot of time was spent, but it came to nothing. And moving on, America's infrastructure and climate plan keep people at home. I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say here. People should not be at home, sir. We should be going out. We need to have sun falling on our bodies.
Right, right. Now, let me first respond to this, what you call as the we had the America Rescue Plan, we have America Jobs Plan, now we had America Family Plan. The family plan slowly started from $1 trillion in child credits, then is expanded to $1.8 trillion in expanding what you call the family care and child care and paid leave to care providers and mothers. That has been recalculated, and the number is now 2.5 trillion. It's not 1.8 billion, now it's 1 billion. So it has overshot by 700 billion. For the sake of brevity, we may give a brief message. The same budget on a payback is $1.3 trillion short on the revenues in terms of making up. So what's the net effect? The net effect is just one of these acts is looking down the barrel in terms of its ability to meet the obligations, but on the contrary, to see further the debt expanding. So that's what I mean.
And India-China standoff continues 1 year on. Negotiations have stalled with no progress. Sir, China, sitting on LAC, this is now going on with no end in sight. And India keeps going back to negotiations. One wonders what the purpose of it. I've had many experts come on PGurus channel to explain this, and they say that keep talking is good because when you keep talking, we can fortify our positions. But they don't mention or they don't admit to the fact that the other side also is fortifying its positions. Your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts. Sorry, sir, I didn't answer the previous question, which is effectively America infrastructure climate plan keeps people at home. Now, many states are reporting that nobody wants to come and work because there's no incentive to work. The money is arriving at home without any work. And what used to be only restricted to restaurant workers now has spread right everywhere. So there is a question around these unemployment numbers. So you are going to have money coming through climate plan. You have to have money coming through the infrastructure plan. All this is contributing to people lazy and staying home. And listening to your story, you want to work and you're not being supported, especially in your family business. Now, coming to the specific questions that you have raised, what's my view? My view is very simple. Engage to disengage, engage to engage, whether you choose to disengage or not. That's my view, which is namely, keep talking to the Chinese. They keep fortifying the positions. India keeps fortifying its positions. So keep talking. And I think keep talking is good. Chinese love to talk. Now, yesterday we reported they also are recruiting some of the Tibetan nationals to counter Indo-Tibetan. This is just like, negotiating with China on everything that is going on around the world. So India is playing a smart game, which is to say, and the Chinese are playing. Chinese are no exception to this rule. They're playing a smart game. The question is going to be who blinks first. The question is going to be who has the wherewithal to fight under all circumstances. Clearly, maybe I am biased or prejudiced. The Indian army and the Indian the generals or the think tank, which is leading this effort, uh, it seems to be very different. They are ready, hunky dory, to take on these guys. And whatever tactics you adopt, we'll adopt the same tactics, no problems. So India seems to be fully equipped to talk, to act, and if required, to fight.
And the Reserve Bank of India, Indian Central Bank, outlined $6.8 billion of COVID 19 relief measures. So, your thoughts, what would the RBI do? It's not going to be able to put money in people's pockets, is it?
It's extension of credit to very specific sectors, most notably health services sector. I think they're going to expand credit. So, in other words, if you are setting up a mini oxygen plant, if you need credit, they may give. If you recall, I think India has got some programs. I don't know whether it is still relevant. They're called as directed lending, or they call themselves priority sector, which attracts, which is lent at very attractive rates and with moratoriums on payouts and so on. So I think some of these sectors, adjacent segments, which warrants support, they're extending credit to the extent of $6.8 billion. It's a laudable scheme, and RBI grants permission rather than issue loans to some of these people.
And in good news for India, Dell, Foxconn, Wistron, and Lava are among 19 firms that applied for Indian PLI scheme to manufacture laptops, tablets, and PCs. Sridharji, you have mentioned about the goodness about the PLI scheme. Now it is beginning to bear fruit, sir.
It is. It is prevalent in the mobile sector. It is prevalent in the solar sector. It has come into the MSME sector. It has come. You saw in the LED and AC, and refrigerations. It has come into the agricultural sector, which we showed the capital flowing in, and then it is now coming into the variety of electronic segments, including semiconductor. And you can see at least 19 of these companies are coming in and leveraging this scheme. So the objective of pointing this out and why we are trying to be different is constantly mainstream media in most parts of the world, be it in the United States, be it in India, be it in Europe, etc. They constantly keep advocating only bad news. Everything is bad. Everything is bad. But no, there is wheels of motion moving on. People are going to work. Everybody is not looking at the newspapers to see how many people are sick and how many people are dead. People have to work. And here is the people, the government, Indian government, at least has not taken the eyes off its ball. Maybe in some segments, it has not performed to the expectations, most notably in the COVID-19 phase 2 or COVID-19 wave 2 management. But clearly, at least in the security side, as well as in the economic side, in terms of the development and the growth of various sectors and segments of the economy, things seems to be moving on the right track.
And Britain is going to project power with a major carrier deployment in South China Sea. The HMS Queen Elizabeth sets off on its mission. So we had France doing it, flexing its muscles. We had Japan doing it. We had, I think, India also did a few. And now you have the United Kingdom doing it.
And Germany did it.
And Germany too, right.
And Germany did it. And EU as a whole plans to do something. So Britain has taken a very strong, it is called as the reenactment of the old, the British Empire legacy. It has had its footprint all over all around the world. Clearly sees this particular zone and region is of strategic interest, especially South China Sea. If you recall, just recently, I mean, a couple of days ago, or even one day ago, we talked about Britain and India announcing a deal. But well prior to that, Britain and Japan have announced a bilateral partnership. Britain and ASEAN have applied for a partnership. Britain is the number one. Even China is below Britain in the RCEP or the CPTPIP Comprehensive Trade Partnership in the Pacific area. So they are sitting there ready to move in. So they're saying we need to protect. They will be visiting 40 countries. The HMS Elizabeth would be going around 40 countries in its navigation. It may take a permanent position in the South China Sea to defend and protect the interests of the open seas and to keep Pacific free and open for all types of activity.
And in COVID related news, a COVID 19 scare at G7 after the Indian delegation tests positive. Hasn't the Minister of External Affairs pulled out of the meeting, sir?
No, he has not pulled out. He has quarantined himself.
Okay.
So he is attending the meetings. He has not left Britain. He is quarantined. He self-quarantined himself, still conducting the meetings. Though the media would like to project the most important meeting, he is not in person. Many meetings are conducted today. We have learned through COVID, you don't need to be touching and seeing each other. You need to be engaged with each other and conduct still the meetings. So he's very much in Britain and attending the meetings. It's only self-quarantine.
And Moderna says its COVID booster shot provides promising immune response against variants. Now, this booster shot is different from vaccine. How is it?
Yes, it is different. Moderna was the first one which announced that a third shot is needed. So they are working on the third shot. Moderna was also the one which said they're trying to integrate. This is very specifically in United States, the virus which we take, the virus flu shots, the flu shots with the COVID-19 vaccine. So it becomes one single shot. So now they're saying the results are showing that the immune system is able to respond and treat to these new variants from various countries, the most notably the double mutant variation from India. I gather that the double mutant Indian variation is now in United States, and at least in few of the states, people are beginning to see this variant. Obviously, the travelers, to bring about, who go to each of these countries. In India, US is a big travel corridor. Have brought this. So this Moderna vaccine is able to deal with it. Pfizer is also coming up with a booster vaccine. They believe that a third vaccine is essential. The efficacy could come down after 6 months. It is at that point of time, between 6 to 12 months, you take the booster dose.
And the United States supports the waiver of intellectual property protections on COVID-19 vaccine to help end pandemic. In plain language, what it means is that if somebody has patents on some of these formulations, the patent-related revenues will be waived. Is that what it is, sir?
Firstly, granting license to use it. It's called as the TRIPS. We covered this trade intellectual property rights. So the TRIPS rights is being waived, and delighted that United States, in fact, Bernie Sanders and Miss Warren, and even I think Alexandra Cortez.
AOC.
AOC was surprising to say, United States should support South Africa and India and Brazil and other countries because, treating people is far more important than holding on to this so-called IP, or temporarily waive the rights so that people can go and manufacture, and the COVID pandemic can be treated. So it's good that Catherine Tai, I think PGurus has written a special article on this. Catherine Tai, the UN representative from US, has agreed that she would be supporting and holding discussions with United Nations and WHO for waiving these rights.
And Americans fear border surges could accelerate COVID-19. Well, we have been saying this for a long time. And in a more important news, in markets, Bitcoin is coming to a bank near you, says NYDIG. Wow, that means finally the United States is blessing it?
Well, finally, what it says is that wherever there is demand, wherever there is money, that's where the bank branches have to go. So they say Coinbase has got good, attraction. And then, you have Kraken, PayPal. You have so many of these schemes. It's time that banks also enter. I gather that quite a few banks, including small banks, are trying to make an entry into this field. The fee is attractive, especially when the expansion of the currency or the market value is growing at a tremendous clip. So you can effectively use your bank account to fund. They're also contemplating loyalty currency, rewards currency in the United States. You can actually redeem your rewards currency and then buy a crypto and then hold it. Fidelity, I think, is the Fidelity Information Services, or Fidelity is the one which is providing the platform, because obviously you got to have the store of value like a custodian type of an account. This NYDIG, which is one of the, if I remember correctly, the Stone Rogers Group, which does the asset management for digital. They're probably the plank behind it, and they'll partner with banks. And so you can, as you rightly said, walk into your branch and say, I have $50,000. I want to donate one crypto to my grandchild. And, when he grows up, who knows, his education stuff is ready. But it's a great news. And you can now see, we'll slowly begin to unravel this mystery of, is crypto real and is it going to be here? It seems to be going the right way based on all the data.
Yes, indeed. And markets finished higher today. And that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. And please do subscribe to our channel. Sridharji, both of us will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Namaskar.
Namaskar and have a wonderful day.